And welcome once again to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett. Kent Myers has the week off. In this edition, we're going to learn more about the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board, or as you may know them better, the OERB. They have a new executive director, and we'll meet her when we get back on The Verdict.
Every day America uses clean-burning natural gas instead of coal or oil is a day of victory for our environment. That's why Chesapeake chose to explore for natural gas exclusively, and we've never looked back. Because natural gas burns twice as clean as oil or coal, and reducing carbon emissions to combat potential global warming is every bit as urgent as cutting our dependence on energy imports. As America's #1 driller of new gas wells, Chesapeake is moving fast to find untapped reserves of natural gas here at home. It's the right fuel for America's economy and the fuel for a clean air future. We just happen to be early to see it so clearly. Chesapeake, natural gas wins the day.
Cox Channel, following your favorite teams all season long.
Hi, this is James Garner.
Hi, this is Reba McEntire.
Hi, this is Johnny Bench.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer.
Hey everybody, this is Vince Gill.
Welcome to my home state of Oklahoma,
where we'll be celebrating 100 years of statehood
in 2007.
Our strength is our people, and the 2,100 Oklahomans from the Cox Communications family are proud to be part of Oklahoma's story. Cox and Oklahoma, true partners.
Happy birthday, Oklahoma.
Welcome back to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett. Kent Myers will be back with us next week. Our guest today is Mindy Stitt. Mindy is the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board, or as you may know them, the OERB. Some biographical information on Mindy. She attended Southwestern Oklahoma State University, majoring in elementary education. She is now the Executive Director of the OERB. Prior to that, she was the Assistant Director overseeing OERB's statewide student education programs. She became the first employee of OERB when she joined the organization back in 1994. Her efforts in the area of energy education awarded her the Governor's Commendation for Public Service in 1998, and in 2006 she was honored by the Journal Record as one of the top 50 women making a difference in the state of Oklahoma. Mindy, welcome. Your first visit to The Verdict?
Yes, thank you.
Terrific. Glad to have you here. How's it been on the job, in this new job? I know you've been working for OERB, but in the new role of Executive Director, it has to be somewhat of a change. How's it been going these first few months?
Well, it has been exciting. We have a lot going on, a lot of new projects and programs, and change of duties somewhat, so it's a new challenge and I'm enjoying it.
In general, how would you describe the role that OERB plays in our community? What is it you all are assigned to do?
We have two main missions. One is to educate Oklahomans about the oil and natural gas industry, and our other main mission is to clean up environmental problems, historical problems created by the industry. The industry has been in Oklahoma for before statehood, and there was a lot of historical drilling and a lot of problems that were created that at the time they didn't realize the environmental problems they were creating.
It's amazing to look at those old pictures of Oklahoma City, for instance, in the late 1920s and the 1930s when there are oil wells everywhere. And today, looking at in 2007 glasses, you look at that and you just think, what environmental concerns they were creating there at the time when you see all of these oil wells out there. Now, still, it's got to be a finite problem. Is there ever a concern that OERB may just be so successful it just moves itself right out of existence?
Well, I think we hope at some point there will be no more sites left for us to clean up. We have no idea how many sites are left out there.
You've got a few to go.
We do.
And how many has OERB worked on so far since OERB's inception back in, was it 1994?
In 1994 is when we started our cleanup program. We're getting ready to celebrate 8,000 sites.
Wow.
We had planned to do that hopefully in early August, but with the rains that we've had recently, we're looking at probably early September.
And so largely these are issues that have been created by generations long ago, and these sites just need to be cleaned up. There is sometimes, as I understand it, there's physical infrastructure. There might be cement and steel laying around, but also there might be things that are more pollutants to the environment. So how do you all weigh which sites to do? Because I'm sure there's lots of people that send you information about an old site that used to be here and there. How do you weigh which ones take a priority?
Well, we do prioritize those by if they're a hazard to health, or if there's children close by or livestock close by, we try to get to those first. Of course, we get all of our sites to us from the Corporation Commission. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission is a regulatory agency here in Oklahoma, and so they are the ones that recommend the sites to us. They make sure that there's not a responsible party out there, that someone that is responsible to clean it up, a company that's still in business. And if it is an abandoned site, they turn it over to us, and then we prioritize those based on, if it's a hazard to health and welfare of the community.
And it seems to me that Oklahoma might be ahead of the game when you compare it to other states who may have had energy backgrounds. Oklahoma appears through the OERB to be at the forefront.
It is. The OERB is the first program of its kind in the nation, the first voluntarily funded program that helps the environment as well as educates the public about the industry.
Let me just, if you know, what does Texas do as a state?
They have a regulatory agency that has a cleanup fund. They do not have a voluntarily funded program. They do not have an education program. I think they're starting to work on one, trying to get some funds to educate people in Texas about the industry.
And you talk about a voluntary fund. I don't think a lot of people know that the funds that are used to fund the OERB come from the energy sector itself.
Correct. It is not appropriated by the state. It is not paid by the consumer. It is a voluntary assessment that's paid by the oil and natural gas producers and royalty owners of Oklahoma. It's a 1/10% assessment on the sale of oil and natural gas here in the state.
And I know the educational component is something that's dear to your heart and something that's very important, a part of OERB's mission. Can you explain that? What are we talking about here when we talk about the education that OERB provides?
Well, in 1995, we started our education program with a program we call Petro-Pros, or Petroleum Professionals in the Classroom. And we have industry volunteers around the state that go out in the classroom and talk about the industry and what they do in the industry. And then we also have curricula. We have a program for elementary students called Fossils to Fuel. It's a hands-on science program that just teaches students the basics about energy and the basics about science. And we also have a middle school program called Petro-Active. It's also a hands-on science program. And then for high school students, we have Core Energy, which focuses not only on science, but the other three core curricula areas: social studies, language arts, and math. So that's what we have K through 12, and then we also have programs for college students, and we have a new program through the Career Tech program here in Oklahoma.
And I would imagine the teachers, especially at the elementary age, are thrilled to get this information to be able to pass along, because I mean their workload is large enough as it is. So someone to come in and provide a comprehensive study area founded in science and something fairly new to the kids that they might not be receiving otherwise, I think would be very welcome from their standpoint.
It is, and actually they helped develop the program, and so they're really excited about all three curricula. They're excited about because it does meet Oklahoma's past objectives. When we started back in 1995, we went to Sandy Garrett, State Superintendent of Schools, and said we'd like to have energy education in the classroom. How would we go about doing that? And she said, well, to do that, you need to involve Oklahoma teachers. You need to make sure they're a part of writing the program if you want them to use it. And we also provide all of the teachers with a resource kit to do all the activities. So they're also getting supplies for their classroom on top of educational opportunities.
Do you ever break it down and say how much of your efforts, how much of your funding goes toward the educational part and how much of it goes to the actual cleanup? Is it broken down into those two categories?
It is. Actually, by our mandate, we are required to spend at least 50% of what we bring in on our assessment and what is not refunded. Our program is voluntary in that if producers and royalty owners do not wish to participate, they can get a refund each year. So what we get to keep, we must spend 50% on environmental restoration. And then the other half we can spend on public education efforts, and part of that is student education. This next fiscal year, which just started July 1, we'll spend $3 million just in the area of student education.
Time's going quickly. I got to get us to a break. We'll come back. We'll be having more with Mindy Stitt. She's the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Educational Resources Board, the OERB. We'll be right back. You're watching The Verdict.
Shining is taking responsibility. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, we know managing your health care can be overwhelming, and it's our job to help you meet the challenge. By guiding, supporting, and showing the way, we encourage you to gain control. Because we believe the best tool we can give you is the confidence to take charge. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oklahoma, shining through.
That land next door was a mess. Take more than a lawnmower to revive that land. I heard the oil and natural gas people was cleaning up old oil sites, and it wouldn't cost us a plug nickel. Oh yes, sir, it was quite a revival. The whole church showed up, want to make a playground for the kids. It sure is a blessing.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
There's a whole new world online, but it's not always safe for kids. Never give your name, phone, address, or password to anyone you met online, and always keep your personal information private. It's the safe way for kids, right, gang?
Right. Be safe online.
Thanks to Lauren Nelson and Cox, we're working to keep Oklahoma kids safer online. For your free guide, log on now. And if you feel your child has been placed in danger by someone online, notify law enforcement today.
Are you the one looking for an exciting new career? If so, we are the one looking for you. We are Cox Communications, and we are searching for field service representatives. FSRs interact and perform services at our customers' home. Sound like the job for you? Then some of the things you need are a high school diploma and a good driving record. But for complete job description and qualification, go to jobs@cox.com.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett in Kent Myers has a week off, and we're visiting with Mindy Stitt. She's the Executive Director of the OERB. You talked briefly about the Petrotec Program. Can you expand on that? What are we talking about?
Sure. Our Petrotec Program is a training program through the Career Tech system here in Oklahoma, and actually we're working directly with Francis Tuttle Career Tech in Oklahoma City. to train individuals to become geology techs, land techs, and engineering techs. We have learned that this is a high demand job for the oil and natural gas industry. The workforce in the oil and natural gas industry, the average age is 54. And so a lot of people are going to be retiring soon, and we need new workers to fill those spots as people retire. And this is a position that doesn't require a college degree. So individuals that are interested in working in the oil and natural gas industry that may not have the desire to go to college or the funding to go to college can go through this program and get a nice paying job here in the state.
And how do they find out more information about that?
Well, they can just log on to our website at oerb.com.
Okay.
And we have a page that is dedicated to our Petrotec program.
And you also have a college program.
We do. We have a scholarship program. Again, we're trying to get young people in the industry, and we're trying to get young people to stay here in Oklahoma to get a career in the oil and natural gas industry. We are working with the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University, and Tulsa University. They have programs that are petroleum related, and we are providing scholarships to young people to go into the oil and natural gas industry. We have about 150 scholars at these 3 campuses, and our freshmen get $1,000, our sophomores get $1,500, juniors get $3,000, and seniors get $5,000.
And what's the Oklahoma Proud program?
The Oklahoma Proud program is our new media campaign, and it's just educating Oklahomans about the importance of the industry here in the state, the economic impact of the industry, and how we as Oklahomans should be proud to have the resources, the oil and natural gas that we have here. And everyone that lives in Oklahoma, you may not work directly for the industry, but you are part of the industry if you live here in this state.
Where do you go from here? What does the ORB see its mission for the 21st century and beyond?
Well, of course, restoring more sites. As I said earlier, we're not sure how many sites remain out there. We're getting ready to celebrate our 8,000th site, but the Corporation Commission estimates there's anywhere between 25,000 and 50,000 sites remaining for us to clean up. So we'll be doing that and continuing our education efforts, educating Oklahomans about this industry so they'll understand it, and then educating young people, maybe get them interested in being in the industry and being a part of the industry.
If someone knows of a site and maybe the Corporation Commission hasn't recognized it yet, what would they do to get the Corporation Commission to look at it and consider it one of the sites that the OERB might be able to help with?
Well, they can certainly contact us directly. They can get on our website at oerb.com, or they can give us a call. Our toll-free number is 1-800-664-1301, and we'll take all their information for them and turn it into the Corporation Commission.
Recently, the OERB honored members of the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. What was that all about?
Well, we work directly with them because all of our sites must be recommended to us by the Corporation Commission. We count on them and their field inspectors to turn those sites into us. And their plates are full, especially now with the industry booming, and they're the regulatory agency. They're out there trying to keep tabs on the companies and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So this is just an added job for them, turning in sites to us. So we try to honor them and recognize them whenever we can.
And the OERB was officially given new life in this last legislative session.
Yes.
What lobbying efforts went on to ensure that OERB was going to be able to continue its funding?
Well, because of the way our funding comes in, we are a quasi-state agency, and so every 6 years we sunset. And so we just had to go out and visit with the legislature about what we do and the importance of our agency to the state. And there wasn't a lot of lobbying that had to be done because most of them are well aware of the work that we do here in the state and the environmental work that we do. And so it was an easy deal for them to go ahead and continue our agency for another 6 years.
Give me an example of some success stories on OERB working at sites. Where are some sites that you've really seen that OERB has made a difference in people's lives?
Well, pretty much every site, but mainly for landowners that have farming and ranching. They had to farm around these sites before we came came along. One site in particular I can think of is it was a skimming facility where companies would come and dump their oil and water into a pit, and then they'd skim off the oil and then resell it. Because it had so much water in it, they had to put it in these large pits. And that was abandoned many years ago, and it just so happened it was on a Girl Scout camp land. And so these young ladies were out wandering around this, and it was a hazard for them, and so made a huge difference for that Girl Scout camp.
And what did OERB do specifically? They came in and did what?
Removed all the hydrocarbons and closed out the pit, took out the lining, buried the concrete, and so now there's grass and trees growing there where there once was just an open pit.
And are these OERB sites, are they pretty much all over the state? Are there certain counties that seem to have more issues than others? There's 77 counties in Oklahoma. Where do you spend most of your time dealing with these energy-related issues?
Well, we've done work in 59 of our 77 counties, and of course we do most of our work where a lot of the historical drilling was done back in the teens and 20s and 30s. So you can see kind of a line from southwest Oklahoma all the way up to northeast Oklahoma and where all the early drilling took place. Our largest county as far as the number of cleanups we've had is Seminole County with well over 1,200 sites that we've cleaned up in that county alone.
And I would assume that the older the site, probably the more environmental concerns there might be. I assume they were less careful in 1915 than they were in 1935. Is there a trend there?
True. However, you know, Mother Nature takes care of a lot of that over time. A lot of what we see, especially the historical drilling, is concrete, trash, and debris. So old pillars, you know, when they drill a well, they use a portable rig. In the early days of drilling, they would have to build a derrick right there on site, and so they had a lot of concrete and stuff that was just left there.
In what era did these sites start to clean up themselves? What era did the sector start becoming more responsible?
Well, probably in the 50s, when they started to understand more about the environment, and especially recently in the 80s and 90s, when the environment really became a hot topic.
And current sites, are there issues that Americans and Oklahomans should be concerned about? If they know someone is drilling on adjacent property, should they be concerned for their own property? Should they be concerned about the environment? Or do you feel some level of comfort to pass on that the current generation of energy sector operators is doing the responsible things?
They certainly understand now the environmental impact they can have, and we are trying to lessen our footprint here in Oklahoma as well as across the world. So no, there really aren't any environmental concerns with drilling now. We do have accidents, but those are quickly taken care of, and as far as just people going out and drilling and leaving a mess, that doesn't happen anymore.
School starting up around the state of Oklahoma. At what point in the school year do most of the OERB studies take place in the grade schools? Is there a certain time of year when teachers seem to gravitate toward those?
Well, that's interesting. Usually in the spring. I'm not sure if they're teaching their earth science courses then or really why they decide to use our program then, but mostly in the spring. We'll have some in the fall. The neat thing about our programs K through 12 is when teachers use our program in their classroom, we offer them a free field trip to a museum here in the state that has some type of oil and natural gas exhibit. And so we have found that in the spring, those are happening quite a bit more.
That's because there are more visits in the spring. Mindy Stitt is the Executive Director of the OERB. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'll have a final word after this.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Our pledge as a company is to provide quality of service for our paying customers.
When you illegally hook up cable,
everyone pays.
Theft of cable can cause outages.
Sometimes poor reception.
We seek out illegal use.
And we prosecute offenders.
If you know someone not paying for service,
call us at 1-800-466-5590.
You could remain anonymous.
Cable theft. It's more serious than you think. It's a crime.
Many of us are careful to filter the water our children drink. But what about the information they're drinking in from the internet? Do you know where your child is going online or who they're talking to? With Cox Communications, there are easy ways to find out and helpful tools for filtering their internet use. I'm proud to partner with Cox Communications to help safeguard our nation's children. To learn more, visit cox.com/takecharge. Our children are our crown jewels. Let's protect them.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett, sans Kent Myers. Kent will be back with us next week. We visited with Mindy Stitt today on the Oerb. They're doing some great work, and the state of Oklahoma really is to be commended for being out in front nationally on this issue of the energy sector cleaning up after itself. So it's great to see another success story in the state of Oklahoma. A couple of websites for your information. If you'd like to see more on the OERB, you can go to their website. It's simple, oerb.com. And if you'd like to suggest a show for The Verdict, you can go to our website, theverdict.tv. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next week on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced by the Production Services Group at Cox Communications, exclusively for the Cox Channel.